Picture the biggest thing you've ever seen walk. Now double it. Then ask yourself one simple question. Why doesn't that exist? An elephant can weigh more than 13,000 pounds. That's 6.5 tons. Muscle, bone, skin, all of it balanced on 4 legs. It's the heaviest animal walking the planet right now. And nothing else is even close. The white rhino tries. It doesn't get near. So here's what nobody stops to wonder. Elephants work. Evolution built them huge and kept them alive for 70 years. So why did it stop? Why isn't something twice an elephant's size out there somewhere? Stay till the end. Because the last part will completely change how you think about size itself. It turns out there's a hidden ceiling, a hard limit on how big a land animal can ever become. And once you see it, everything changes. You stop seeing elephants as just big. You start seeing them as something standing at the edge of what biology can physically build. Let's start where it all begins. Bones. Everything comes back to bones. Imagine you take an animal and make it twice as tall. You'd think it becomes twice as heavy. It doesn't. It becomes about 8 times heavier because weight grows with volume, and volume explodes when size increases. Subscribe and comment below your guess now, because the ending will reveal why Earth's biggest land animal may already be living at the absolute limit. But here's the trap. Bone strength doesn't grow that fast. Bone strength depends on thickness, on the area of the bone, and area grows far slower than volume. So every time an animal gets bigger, its weight races ahead and its bones fall behind. That gap is deadly. Scientists call this the square cube law. It's the single biggest reason giants are so rare. Now look closely at an elephant's legs. They don't look like a dog's legs. They don't look like a horse's legs. They look like pillars, straight up and down, like the columns of a building. When an elephant stands still, its knees barely bend. That's not random. It's the only shape that can hold that much crushing weight. A mouse can have thin, bent, springy legs. Because a mouse weighs almost nothing, its bones can handle way more than it needs. An elephant has no such luxury. One wrong step matters, one crack in the wrong bone, and there may be no coming back. In the wild, a broken leg is often a death sentence because the animal can't rest it long enough to heal. Its own weight never lets it stop. Now think about the heart. This part is incredible. An elephant's heart weighs around 40 pounds. Think about what that heart has to do. Push blood all the way up to the brain, but not so hard that it bursts the vessels below. It's a balancing act with life on the line. Now meet the extreme version, the giraffe. A giraffe's heart works twice as hard as ours, just to send blood up that towering neck. And that's not enough on its own. Giraffes evolved special valves inside their veins and tight, wrapped skin on their legs, all to stop blood from pooling and killing them every single time they stand up. Think about that. Every extra foot of height is a new problem. A problem the body has to solve. And eventually, there's no solution left. Then comes an enemy you can't see. Heat. Big animals struggle to cool down because heat escapes through the surface of the body, and surface grows slower than volume. So a giant makes tons of heat, but has a hard time letting it out. That's why an elephant has those massive ears. They're not just for hearing, they're radiators, full of blood vessels, flapping to throw heat back into the air. It's a cooling system built into the body. It's also why elephants have almost no hair. Now compare that to the woolly mammoth. It lived somewhere freezing. It needed to trap heat, so it grew a thick coat. Same family, opposite problem. Now scale an elephant up much bigger, and it simply cooks from the inside. Its own body heat becomes the killer. And we haven't even talked about food. This one is brutal. An adult elephant eats up to 300 pounds a day, 300 pounds of plants. Every single day, it spends nearly 16 hours eating just to keep its body running. Now double that animal. The numbers turn brutal fast. It would need to eat more hours than a day even has, and no forest could grow food that fast. So the land itself sets a limit. The environment says this far and no further. But wait, if all of this is true, how on earth did dinosaurs pull it off? Because they absolutely did. Meet Argentinosaurus, one of the biggest creatures to ever walk. It may have weighed close to 100 tons. That's more than 10 elephants, stacked into a single animal. So how did it dodge the physics? The same physics that limits everything alive today? The answer is wild. They cheated in ways mammals never could. Their bones were full of air pockets, connected to their lungs, almost like the bones of birds today. That made their skeletons shockingly light, far lighter than solid mammal bone. Their long necks weren't heavy either. They were mostly air sacs and light tissue. So they could reach food across a huge space without moving their giant bodies much at all, and they didn't grow the way elephants grow. A baby elephant is already big at birth. After a pregnancy lasting almost 2 years, then it grows slowly for decades. A sauropod hatched from an egg not much bigger than a soccer ball. Then it grew at an insane speed, possibly thousands of pounds in a single year. That meant no risky, endless pregnancy. They just laid eggs and let the growth happen later, fast. But even they weren't unbreakable. Fossils show stress fractures, damaged joints, signs of carrying too much weight. They were fighting the same physics elephants fight. They just had extra tools. Tools mammals never got. And that leads to something strange. Elephants are mammals. Mammals never got air-filled bones. Never got the egg-laying growth trick. Never got the sauropod body, which means something surprising. Elephants might be closer to their true limit, closer than dinosaurs ever were. There's a reason for this. In tens of millions of years, no mammal has ever beaten today's elephant on land, not by much, not for long. But here's a twist. Elephants aren't even the biggest land mammal ever. That crown likely belongs to Paraceratherium, a giant, hornless cousin of the rhino. It roamed Asia around 30 million years ago. Some estimates put it near 20 tons, almost 20 feet from shoulder to nose. It vanished as its forests shrank. And there's more. During the last ice age, giants ruled. Mammoths, giant ground sloths, armored beasts the size of a small car. They walked across entire continents. Then, almost all of them disappeared within the last 15,000 years, right as humans spread into their lands. With organized hunting, scientists still debate the cause: climate change or human hunting. But the timing is hard to ignore, and that raises an unsettling thought. Maybe elephants aren't the ceiling at all. Maybe they're just the last giants left, the survivors after we removed everything bigger, and if you want to see the ceiling vanish completely. Look at the ocean. Everything changes underwater. A blue whale can weigh nearly 200 tons, 10 times heavier than the biggest dinosaur, almost 30 times heavier than an elephant. And here's the secret. A whale's skeleton could never hold that weight on land. It doesn't have to, because water does the work. Buoyancy cancels out most of the weight, so a whale's bones never face the crushing load an elephant's do. No need for pillar legs. No deadly heat problem, because water pulls heat away. No single fracture ending its life. Pull a whale onto land and its organs collapse within hours. But put an elephant in water, and it would carry its own weight more easily than on land. That's the real lesson here. It was never about how big evolution can build. It's about how much size the environment supports for free. So could a land animal ever beat the elephant again? Physics says not impossible, just barely possible. Lower gravity would help instantly, which is why scientists wonder about life on smaller worlds, on smaller planets, and distant moons. Oxygen matters too. Long ago, the air held far more oxygen. Back then, dragonflies had wings 2 feet wide. More oxygen can fuel bigger bodies. But today, Earth's gravity and air are locked in, and elephants sit right where the math runs out. So next time you see an elephant, remember this. You're not just looking at the biggest animal on land, you're looking at a living equation solved right up to the final edge, where bone, blood, and heat run out of room. Bigger isn't missing because nothing ever tried. It's missing because something already reached the limit. And that something is standing right in front of you.